Hello.
Hello.
Here we are with Myles Kennedy and Mark Tremonti. It's a great pleasure to finally meet you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having us.
You went solo, you went with Slash on tour. How did you ever manage to get together in the studio to record a new album?
Yeah, it was, we've been at this breakneck speed now for really the last decade, and we've become masters of scheduling well in advance. It drives our booking agent and our managers crazy, but they somehow make it work. So yeah, we had this little window of time in late March and the month of April this year, 2019, to make this record. So what that required is for Mark and I to be real prepared as writers and make sure things were demoed and ready to go, so we knew what songs we were doing.
Okay. I've read this album was recorded in a way that no Alter Bridge album was ever recorded before. What did they mean by saying that?
Well, it was prepared for different than it's been prepared for before. Me and Myles usually come together and piece our ideas together, so each song was a little bit of both of our ideas. This time, because of the time schedule was so short in the studio, only the 5-week window, we came prepared with finished demos, songs that were completed start to finish. And then that being said, once we got into the studio, we made alterations to those songs now that all the band was there. But we had never done that before. Usually it's just, like I said, more of an experimentation between our parts. And I think it made the song, actually the record, come out to sound a little more thought out, a little more polished in the long run. So it was a good experimentation. We'll see what happens next record round. Maybe it'll be a little bit of both next time.
Okay. How old were those ideas of the demos and
stuff? Speaking from my ideas, I guess the oldest one was from August of 2018. So there was a song called Native Son, which that was I think the first thing that I felt like could make the record, the genesis of it. So, but I think Mark had some ideas that have been hanging around longer. And what was your oldest idea?
Dying Light verse part was very, very old. It was, it's probably goes back 4 records deep, so it's Tear Us Apart's the second oldest. That's probably been around for, 6 years or so. But Dying Light's definitely been around at probably over 10 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. But 10 years to me doesn't feel like an old idea, Old ideas seem, that's like a 25-year-old idea that's still sitting around. But it's good that finally sees the light of day.
Myles, with your album Year of the Tiger, you tried to work with the loss of your father. How many personal stories and ideas are involved in this new Alter Bridge album?
There are a few. There's a theme that certainly was inspired by personal elements in my life. There's a song that was definitely inspired lyrically from Mark called Godspeed that he wrote as a tribute to a friend. As far as like a percentage, I couldn't tell you. It's not nearly as personal as Year of the Tiger was, as far as how in-depth it got, because that's really just like a journal entry. Here it all is. Some of the songs take twists and turns into that. There's a song called Indoctrination, which was written really about a cult leader. I was after seeing an episode of something on Netflix that really spoke to me for whatever reason, and other storylines. But a lot of the record deals with the idea of my discovery of kind of how to frame how I view living in terms of being very present, learning to live for the moment, and learning the art of mindfulness, whatnot, and how that's had a positive effect on my life, and that manifested itself in a number of the songs.
How, in general, does your solo project influence the sound of Alter Bridge? Does it?
Yeah, I think everything you do influences what you do going forward. I think it made me a more confident singer and lyricist, performer. I think you just, the more you work, the more your mind is open to being creative, and the better you get at being creative, but the harder it is to be unique with your new ideas. So, I think the solo ideas just make you a more well-rounded, stronger artist, hopefully, you know, and they just don't, you know, you just got to make sure it doesn't burn you out and you stay fresh and you keep on being able to draw from new things for new song ideas.
I must confess, when I was listening to Wouldn't You Rather for the first time, I was like, wow, this is epic. I mean,
Nice.
the whole sound is epic. And my first thought was, is this the new Bond song? I mean, it sounds like a Bond song, James Bond song.
Oh, wow.
That would be awesome.
I like it.
That'd be great.
And that's so. Could you ever imagine to do a soundtrack for a movie?
Yeah, you know, it would be. A few people have told us over the years that our stuff is kind of got that theatrical kind of thing to it. I think that's why it worked well when we did the stuff with the orchestra. It's got the moody kind of atmosphere to it. But James Bond film would be epic. Yes.
I like that idea.
Will you sell this to them and
Make it happen.
Sure, I will. Who would be your preferred director, by the way?
Preferred director? That's a really good question. You know what? I'm the last guy to ask because as I get older and I watch less and less films because my attention span is like this long. So, do you have any ideas for director?
I don't. For James Bond film, it's got to be less artsy, more big action. So I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
We suck.
No. I saw a cool video with you with Disturbed performing The Sound of Silence in Houston. Is that an idea that Alter Bridge could take for the future to do a cover version? I mean, you do a lot of cover versions live, Led Zepp, AC/DC, Leonard Cohen, the Hallelujah thing, all that, but you never recorded one, right?
No, we've never recorded and we considered it for this record, but Mark and I ended up having so many songs, it was hard to whittle those down, let alone have space for a cover. So yeah, maybe one day we'll do something. I mean, I think that the trick with the cover is to find something that we could make our own and have it be something that, you know, we could kind of not just regurgitate and just do like a cover, like a version where we don't have our own spin on it. So we need to find that song that we feel comfortable doing that to, where we're not it won't be like sacrilegious. You know? Well, maybe one day.
Let's see. As I said before, I've seen one of the very first gigs in Hamburg in 2004, and this is 15 years ago. So what keeps you together as a band? Is it the writing? Is it the recording? Is it the beer at the end of the show? What is it?
The beer, for sure. It's the camaraderie and the creation of music that means so much to so many people. You know, it's what keeps us going. It's been since I was a kid. You know, sure, since Myles was a kid, creating music has been our passion, and being able to do it without a loose cannon in the band. You know, a lot of times bands break up because there's just one or two crazy, you know, people just don't get along. It's a very personal thing. You're spend a lot of time in a small space with a bunch of people. So we're lucky enough to not have any loose cannons in the band, and everybody is got a good. Everybody's doing it for the right reasons. You know, we're not in this for the party, for sure. We're not big partiers. My friends call me the lamest rock dude out. You know,
That's me.
My wife parties harder than I do. You know, I need my sleep.
But you do have a lot of energy on stage. I saw you last year in Wacken with your solo. It was really, really cool. I was thinking, Alter Bridge was never here in Wacken. Why did Alter Bridge never?
And we gotta go because it was awesome.
You need to go. I mean, you can bring Slash, you bring Axel. We do a, I don't know, Guns and Bridges or Alter Rose show.
Guns and Bridges. Wow. Yes. Alter Rose.
I've always wanted to do that festival. I've heard so many things about it. I don't know why we never had the opportunity to do that.
It's wonderful.
Cool.
You know why we haven't done it is because when we do the main, our first group of the June festivals, it always happens so early in June. If we stay for Wacken, it's always like a 7-week tour or 6-week tour, and it gets too much to handle.
Yeah, sure. You will be coming to Hamburg in November, and I need to ask this question, but what is your first thought when you're thinking of Hamburg? Is there anything that comes into your mind?
Well, you know what? It's interesting because we were talking about this a little earlier. For some reason, every time I think of performing the first time here with Alter Bridge, performing there. I was bummed because I wasn't feeling well. So I always feel, and there's been a few times for whatever reason that was a market where it seemed like every time if we were touring in the winter, Myles would always be feeling sick. So I'm always a little like, oh, please don't be sick this time, because they're just going to think I'm always under the weather. But there was a period there where I felt like I needed to redeem myself. But it's great. I mean, people, the fans are great, and it's a amazing city. It's beautiful. So yeah, we're looking forward to getting back there with a healthy MK.
I will bring some airborns.
Yeah, airbornes.
Yeah.
Lots of vitamin C.
So thank you so much, Mark Tremonti and Myles Kennedy, for this beautiful interview.
Thank you.
Thank you.